Hey, gang, and welcome to another episode of Try Not to Curse. This one is a special one. I am here with actress, director, model. Do we want to say bodybuilder? Just certainly very in shape.
Yeah.
Kerstin Schulze. Now, again, Kerstin, we just discussed you were born and raised in Germany. How do you pronounce your name the proper way?
Well, the German way we say Kerstin Schulze, and the American way we say Kerstin Schulze.
Okay. So I'm going to keep saying Kerstin just so that I don't screw it up. Okay. But again, so how old were you when you finally did move to the States?
I was 29 when I came here. I've been here twice. I was here when I was 23, and then I came back when I was 29. I just did a test run when I was 23, so to call.
Okay. And I mean, were you always interested in acting as you grew up? I mean, I know you have a major in business as well, but was your passion for the stage, for performing?
Always.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah. I wrote my first own improv sketches since when I was 15.
Oh, wonderful.
So it is always something that I wanted to do. I always wanted to be an actor. Just my mother said that it's not a real profession and not a reliable job, which is true.
Sure.
It's a very tough profession. And she said, get a real degree. And so I got a business degree. And she was right. You know, it helped me a lot because acting is so unpredictable.
Absolutely. And then, you know, again, we've had things like the pandemic, writers' strikes, all kinds of things can crop up at any given time. They can just upright and cancel productions right out from under you. You never know. So it is always good to have something to fall back on. Absolutely. But I grew up with Germans. There's some Germans in my family, so I understand the culture, and I know as serious as people, as the stereotype of the German people are, I know that comedy is a big thing in your culture. So the fact that you started off writing improv sketches is really of no surprise to me, but I think it would probably be surprising to some of my listeners. Did you perform in school? Was there a drama program or any type of like summer work where you were able to act and kind of just hone your chops before going right into the profession?
Yeah, we had a drama program, and I did a musical, even though I'm not a great singer, but I'm a great DJ.
There you go.
Pull it off.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a drama department, and my sister and I were identical twins. We went into it together and loved it. And then we got the opportunity to then have a show that was touring through the schools and another level of the whole theater world in Germany. So we went to all kinds of different venues and did a lot of improv, stand-up, scripted stand-up, I mean, all stand-up is kind of scripted if you think about it. But yeah. That was
cool.
Our first big experience. And I remember the first time somebody came to me and said, "Can I have an autograph?" I'm like, "Why?"
I love it. That's great. That must be a nice feeling. Oh, well, and again, having that experience, I'm sure it kind of helped you understand a little bit about the business, certainly be more disciplined about, you've got to be somewhere, you've got this commitment, you have to be, and you also have to make sure you're getting enough sleep and rest and you're eating right and you're doing all of those things.
What really taught me that was being an athlete.
I was going to get into that. Yes. I said, again, as you said before off chat, that your nickname is KS360 because you're always fit, always active. You've got to have tremendous discipline for that. So that's amazing as well. When did you really start getting into fitness?
10 years old.
Okay.
Track found me and I loved it.
Oh, okay.
And then I entered into the Junior Olympics in Berlin. I was 12 and won the silver medal. And I did heptathlon, so 7 different disciplines.
Holy cow.
And I just loved the feeling of sports. Loved it was always about the feeling. It was never about I want to be a pro at it or anything. It was just a given, and then later on I did speed skating and kayaking and went down raging rivers and waterfalls and I did it all. And sports was always something that I loved. And you had to be disciplined to be somewhat good. You have to show up, and I made a business out of it. So that's why I created this party and diet business where I help people to get in shape 365 days a year.
That's amazing. And what is that called? How can people find you for that?
It's called Party and Diet, literally.
Okay.
And partyanddiet.com, or on Instagram, Party and Diet. And I called it Party and Diet because when I first came here, I said, okay, how am I going to be seen? And fitness was my gateway into it. I really, even for acting, it was I got on stage, won my competitions, then was in all the magazines, and with that, I built my business, and I was known to be always in shape, but I love a good party. So I don't shy away from having pizza and having a glass of champagne, or, and living my life and have a great social life. And I love to go dancing. So I just learned how to balance the both. And that's really what life is about: discipline, balance, and having fun.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. I'm definitely going to be looking that up because I need to know more about this and how I can incorporate it into my everyday. That's fantastic. So I should say, what finally brought you to the States? Again, you had said you had been here twice prior, but what was it that you said, you know what, I'm going to make a real honest go about it? And was it just America just seems to be the place to be to get into the acting world, into Hollywood, or just was there something else drawing you to the US?
Well, growing up in Germany, in Berlin, and then in Bavaria, America was always the land of opportunities to me. People are really open-minded here to hard work and creativity. And so that was always in the back of my mind. But at the time, I was assistant marketing director for AOL, and I had a dance troupe in Germany. And I had a child with a man that his father was in the military here, and we were married for a very short period. And we were going through a divorce, actually. So he took our son to the States and decided not to bring him back.
Oh, shoot.
So in order for me to get my son, I had to come to the United States. So it was kind of like a forced thing for me to come here. Yeah. And it all worked out in the end. And I got my son, and I settled in California. Because I felt like maybe this was a sign for me to be in California now, because it always was my dream to live in California. I just didn't know when. It was not planned.
Sure.
I was actually pretty happy where I was in Germany. And when that happened, I was like, well, I guess I'm going to start all over here. I had $3,200 in my pocket, my truck, and my son, and made it happen.
Wow. Amazing. What was one of your first, was it a commercial gig? Was it just I know you've done like billboard campaigns. What was one of your first jobs out here?
My first agency was Bobby Ball. It was a fitness agency, sports agency that did have a lot of athletes. And I did Vegas.com. There was a big billboard of me. I was playing a trainer. I'd led with what I had, which was my body and my knowledge and fitness. And that's really how I got a lot of commercials. So I did a lot of national commercials. I think overall they have done 15 national commercials. And I've always kind of played either fitness trainer or, and it was always comedic. There was always a comedic part with that. So it was always in my wheelhouse. And then the first big role was really, I did Flake 2, American Horror Story, Rescue Dogs. Rescue Dogs, I had the first supporting role, which was a health inspector. And it was a family comedy. And but I remember when I was being directed by Angela Bassett on American Horror Story. And Kathy Bates just came out of the room, and we had a green screen. I had to go in with a British accent. That was a surreal moment.
I bet.
That was 10 years ago.
You're just dropping all these names, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just unbelievable. You've also appeared in Righteous Gemstones alongside Walton Goggins and John Goodman, just to name just a few members of the cast. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with that show. I absolutely adore that show. So do you, like you said, you wrote comedy, you kind of prefer to be in comedies, but I mean, American Horror Story, that's pretty dramatic. That can get pretty dark in some aspects. Do you still prefer comedy, or you're kind of open to good roles, good writing, anything that's thrown your way?
Oh, no. I like everything. I mean, comedy is kind of like it's a giving to me. And I know not everybody can do comedy. You have to really know where your turns are and everything. Where drama, I love drama. I love action drama as well. So it's definitely something that I want to do as well. And I get some roles that are a little bit more juicier than that. Like when I did the health inspector, she wasn't funny. She was really like tough and all that. But definitely I would like to do more of that.
Yeah. And how did you get into directing? I'm sorry, go ahead.
With Sola, when I got Sola, you know, she had a lot of nuances for the Righteous Gemstone, and she's the Kung Fu, because she's really centered. She's really cool. She's very like, she's the calm in Baby Billy's craziness and chaos. You know, Walton Goggins plays Baby Billy on the Righteous Gemstone, and Sola was just this grounded, centered woman that nothing faces her. And that's how I wanted to play her, I felt sorry for Baby Billy, and I wanted him to love his wife and the children and focus on them more, you know? So I got to do, it is a comedy, and it's one of the best comedies I think that are out there. No bias here, but the writing on it is just phenomenal. Danny McBride did such a great job, and we get to improv on it, you know, to probably 20% of it.
Oh, that's great.
And I just finished another project. I did the Rachel Sonnet project that I just filmed. That's going to come out next year.
Great.
But I do, like you're saying, I direct and write my own things because I don't believe in waiting around. You know, when it's quiet, create your own stuff. I created 3 short films just because I wanted to do something different than a comedy. I wanted to do... I did take writing classes with comedy writers for SNL, and to understand the game, and when you write comedy, there is a game, there's a build up, and so I wanted to write comedy and understand comedy, because I feel like when you produce and write yourself, you understand your role even better. You understand or what's going on set. You understand what's going to make it in the editing room and whatnot.
Sure.
You know, you understand your voice better. I think anybody that was a professional actor should at least once or twice create their own stuff.
Yeah.
Or all the time. I mean, it's so easy nowadays. We have an iPhone. We can just create it.
That's very true. I do encourage people to do that as well. I say, listen, just start writing. Even if it's just one little line, you don't know where it fits, you don't know what the bigger world may be, but get it down, have it, capture it, and then see what comes of it. Maybe you don't touch it for years, and then all of a sudden, oh, I have this line that would fit perfectly here. You never know. Speaking with Satori Shakur a couple of weeks back, also a writer and has been in a couple of productions as well. She always tells people to start with an action. If you're not sure where to go, how to get things going, just start with an action. You know, Franklin was walking down the street. He was driving his car. He was running away. You know, something along those lines. Is there anything that you use when writing? Is it just an idea? Is it you have a semblance of a storyline? Maybe something that you take from your own life experiences. How does the creative process flow through you and manifest itself into a project?
The great question. I agree with your statement there as far as the action. I think if it come from a place of action in a scene, then you can write around it. I also feel like I need to know where I'm going at the end. What's the end result? So I work backwards. I say, okay, This is what the result is. For instance, when I did Wine Night, I wanted a totally twist at the end where Wine Night is all about a robber coming into a house, and these 4 women are hanging out, having wine night, and they always hire strippers. And they hired a police officer as a stripper, and they think that this robber just came in and is the stripper. So it becomes this whole twist and turn.
Sure.
But I wanted to end with the confusion, and then the real stripper comes to the door, and they realizing that they've been torturing this poor guy who's a robber who now went into the wrong house.
Right.
I worked backwards on that one, you know, and I had a friend who I wrote it with, but the idea was mine. I said, what would happen? I always go with, okay, what would happen when a robber goes into the wrong house and they mistaken him for somebody else? And so there's an action in that, and then how can we write it? And I work backwards on that.
Yeah. That's really amazing. What's it like collaborating with other people? Because for me personally, like, I don't even sing karaoke. Like I have stage fright. I have a real hard time putting myself out there, even if it isn't, in the land of imagination, as a lot of people would describe acting. I just can't, I don't know. I just feel uncomfortable in that. And then to write something and sit down and kind of collaborate, right? Again, you're putting yourself out there. You're putting an idea out for someone else to criticize, or maybe they want to tweak it, or what's it? I mean, I'm sure you still prefer writing on your own, but to then bring in another person, is that difficult to kind of, give up a little bit of control, or does it help your process at the end of the day?
I think it can only help. You start off with the idea. I always surround myself with creatives. I went to the sketch school to write sketches, and I put out pet peeves, which was really about we all have pet peeves,
oh, yeah.
right? And what would that look like? What would be a loop when somebody is really always projecting on somebody else, but does what she's projecting on other people, and or judging on other people. And so I think it's really good to have a writer's room, and so I learned what it's like to be in a writer's room, what it is to throw ideas in there and have other people take a look at it. I think when you want to be creative and you want to really succeed, you can't take things personal. You have to really say, okay, well, this is their set of eyes, and you will expand your thought process because you might not ever thought about it. So when we wrote Wine Night, I wrote it with Hunter Shigley, and he is really good at comedy as well, and also drama. So when we sat down, I had him in my pet peeves, and I wrote that alone. And then while we were filming that, we were thinking already of the next idea. So brainstorming together, I go to the actor's studio in Manhattan Beach here, and the actor's studio with Billy Gallo, who's a well-known actor himself, brings really creative people together. And it's not just actors. There's writers, producers, directors, cinematographers, all kinds of people that you can then set together and create a project. We always create projects together that are not costing a lot of money. And that's the key, right? When we first start off,
yeah,
we always think it's going to be expensive. It doesn't have to. You can make a short film for $100 to $1,000 and put it up. I mean, obviously, if you want a higher quality, better sound, all of that, you can invest more. But it doesn't have to be that big. That's why all these independent movies are coming back, and making a comeback, because studios have realized we can make movies that are not as high as budget.
Right. So acting, directing, writing, do you have a preference? Is there one that you're more drawn to, that you'd like to do more of, or that you just feel even more fulfilled at the end of the day when you leave a job?
Acting.
Yeah.
I love being in front of camera. I love creating characters. I love getting into what is that life like, and then creating nuances to her and make somebody feel something. I love acting. I can do that until I die. It's something that I enjoy.
That's wonderful. And I know people hate to use this word, but what is your process when you're handed a script, or when someone comes to you and says, we have an idea for this character? How do you get your head into that person's life and kind of mold yourself? Like how do you see yourself in these roles?
So once I booked the role, because a lot of times when we get the audition, we get a one page. And out of that one page, you have to figure out what is it that the writer really wants. And I read it over and over and over and over again to really see, because they will give you little pinpoints, is she in a rush, or what did the other person say, and what's in her dialogue that could give you a hint of what this person that she's talking to, which is me creating this character, is. So the process in that is really getting the bits and pieces out of that. And then once you book the role, you already know they liked what you created, in which direction you go. And then I get the script, and then I just read the script over and over and over again until it's in my, I'm visualizing. And Moss always said to imaginary, acting is all, can you imagine it? You don't even have to have experienced it, but can you imagine it? What does it feel like?
Yeah.
What is around you? What does it smell like? What is, so the imagination is really the driving factor then to create the character. And then keep it real. Now, what would that feel like? Maybe I don't agree with what the character does in my real life. But that's not what I'm there for. I'm there for to understand, okay, what would make that person do that? So when I created the Killer Clown on Escape the Night, first of all, the role wasn't even when I auditioned was for something completely different.
Oh.
And because I was so direct and I took a chance in the audition room, they actually offered me a different role that was written for a man, which was a supporting role, and they changed it over to me. And then I got to create this Killer Clown Hightower. And Hightower had feelings. And I said, what would make a clown kill people? Right? And what? And normally it's because we didn't get enough hugs, didn't get love, didn't get put down all the time, has rage, maybe was beaten when she was a child, whatever that is. So where does it come from? Because we all want love and acceptance, And so I put myself into that character. And, she was a makeup artist, and nobody liked her makeup. It was too out there. So she just murdered them all and went on and went to this clown school and became a killer clown. But really, she has severe OCD and cleans all the time. And, you make them relatable. And so it's all about the process of who is this person and who's relatable,
Yeah. Well, and again, going back to the collaboration, I've heard a lot of actors talking about, I had this idea of who this person was, and then it wasn't until I put on the costume or the prosthetics, the wig, the makeup, what have you, that I became that person, that everything fell into place. When you direct and when you've been directed, are you willing? You said, Danny McBride allows improv on Righteous Gemstones and his projects. Do you allow improv, or is that still to you more part of a collaborative thing? Or I know some directors are very much, and some writers are very much like, no, just stick to the script. This is what I mean. This is how I want it said. How is that for you?
Improv doesn't just have to be words. So improv, I can say a lot. Like Sola didn't say a lot on The Righteous Gemstone, my man, when she spoke, but her body language and her looks was all improv, So we all improving all the time, right? When we're acting. And if you have a director and a writer that are very strict about their writing, and you have to respect that because you are hired for that, there is sometimes something written that then later on gets cut on the editing room, and you're hoping it will because you really didn't like that line. And my demeanor and what I did with my face and everything said it all anyway. So I feel like it's not always words acting is everything. Acting, your body language, the way you look, what you're feeling has to come across in a scene. And I agree, a lot of the best transformation happens when you are in makeup, when you're getting on set, you are in the scene. So you did all your prep work, you did your words, your lines, who this person, her backstory is, and what do you want this person to have, because we all have to have a backstory. And then when you get on set, then it's really just living it. And it's obviously the bigger the better set, and the better when we were on The Righteous Gemstone, we were really in this mansion, and we were really, the outfits were phenomenal and all of that. You definitely feel like the character.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I would say definitely it's everything. It's body language and words. Yeah. And then responding truthfully, if I didn't have amazing actors across from me that are knowing who they are in their role, then I can authentically respond with them, and make it more real.
Absolutely. I think that's just amazing. Do you have any, for someone who might be interested in pursuing any number of, again, you're just a jack of all trades. You've got so many different things and different perspectives on everything. For someone who might be interested in writing, directing, I mean, I feel for me, if somebody says, "Oh, I'm interested in being a director," I would think, well, you need to understand acting first. You need to have a sense of writing first. How would you suggest somebody try to get into this business, or at least just jumpstart their creative process?
Find a school. So I trained with ACT, Berkeley. I did acting classes, privates. I found great coaches. And I always say, put yourself in a class first. I trained with the groundlings. And so you have to study it. You have to find somebody that can teach it to you. And when you are in a class, you can put it on your feet. Well, when you are just at home and reading books, you're really not doing it. Growth is when you are in it and you're doing it. That's why creating your own short films and stuff like that is real important, because you learn what works and what doesn't work. You have to find your voice. We call it in acting. What is your voice? Who are you? It took me 10 years to find my voice, and figure out, okay, this is what I get hired for, and this is what works on camera, and I just think that you have to study it. You have to put yourself in a program, be it in writing classes, be it in acting classes. Even writers and directors, good ones, have taken an acting class, because then they understand what the actor needs.
Right. Absolutely. And how do you handle rejection? And again, no reflection on you or your talents whatsoever, but we all know historically you're going to get a lot more no's before you get that one yes here or there. So going into it again, you're putting yourself out there. You worked hard to get to where you are. You're auditioning. You're trying out for these various roles. How do you pick yourself back up when you get a no?
So for me, I can only speak from my personal experience. It has been really important that I have more than just acting.
Right.
So for
absolutely.
me, with having my training business and having a steady income from that when I get a no, it's not devastating because I'm not making that paycheck. When I get a no in acting, it's like, okay, it was an opportunity to audition. It was an opportunity to meet new casting directors. And if you're good, they will remember you. I've many times been called back into an audition room without even having to the first audition. I've been called back for the callback because they already know me now, and they already know I can do the work. So never underestimate a no. A no doesn't mean no. A no means not today.
Sure. Absolutely.
So I always go in and say, okay, this gave me an opportunity to work on my craft. They offered me a role. Like I remember when I auditioned for TED, and there was 2 different roles. The first one I didn't get, and then the second they called me in for something else, and the second one I didn't get. And it's okay, because there will be hopefully another one, and it's just, you have to not to take it personal. That's my biggest motto in life, is don't take things personal. Just, if you really enjoy it and you love it, you also will understand that the audition process is part of the fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you can look at it as fun, and yes, you will get a lot of no's. And you just move on and just, keep at it. Surround yourself with a network that is of what you want, where do you want to go, and be around creative people, because when you are creating your own projects, the no's don't hurt as much, because with social media nowadays and YouTube and all of that, you can put your work out there, and casting directors look at your work, especially if they like it, they're going to start going on your social media. And I mean, Rescue Dogs, the movie I got because of my social media. They saw me on there and they gave me a chance. They called me in and that's how I booked it.
That's cool. That's great.
And it was not through a casting director.
Yeah. Well, and I would also, and again, please, from your experience, I would assume it's harder for women because women, they want to pigeonhole us you have to, it's always comes down to the looks ultimately, right? So for you, when you audition, you're extremely fit. Maybe that's not what they're looking for. Maybe they're looking for someone that's petite, smaller, larger. Do you still go, like, I mean, I'm sure they give you kind of an idea of what they're looking for ahead of time, but do you go for it anyway and just say, hey, maybe this isn't what you had in mind, but look at what I can bring to the table? Or have you ever kind of felt held back by those initial descriptions of characters when you're thinking about an audition?
They don't know what they want. They don't know what they want. What they want is somebody that they can feel something from.
Okay.
So if it doesn't really matter how tall I am, yes, if that's what they want, yes, they usually call me in for intimidating roles or funny roles, but usually it's like this tough, strong girl, right?
Yeah,
because I portray. But Nicole Parker, a friend of mine, she said to me, it's like, they don't know what they want. Just go for it.
That's great.
And create. Even Walton said that the biggest change in his life happened when he stopped thinking about what they want and just created what he thought this character should be.
Yeah.
And then be okay with them saying no, because in the end, they don't know what they want. You only know what you feel, and then hope for the best that it's going to work out. Because a lot of times in our profession, it's luck too. It's just that what you did, first of all, getting the opportunity to audition is a huge opportunity. And I see a lot of people not being prepared for that opportunity.
Yeah.
So I know that I want to be in fight scene. So I did film fighting. I did all this training. I knew that I wanted to be in comedy. So I trained with the best. I knew that I wanted to draw drama. I knew that I wanted. So I always seek, for me to get to where I want. And Tom Cruise just said that too. He said, for you to want what you want, well, what's the plan to get there? And then you get this opportunity of an audition, and then you have to know who you are and what you can bring to the table and make it believable. Because in the end, it's not so much about, yes, can you know your lines, but they really don't care when you have a quick audition about the word by word, which you're trying to do as much as you can, obviously, and that's the best, but it's, can you persuade what they're trying to say with the scene? Do you understand what they are trying to do? What's the objective? How to move the story forward?
Right.
And can you make them feel something? Like when I got the Killer Clown, like I said, I was auditioning for some little part, but I made them feel something so badly that they thought about something else for me.
Right.
So everything is an opportunity. And I think you need to put yourself out there and not be scared when they say no, and not take it personal when you leave. Yeah, it sucks. Of course, we all want to book it. I mean, yeah. He was screaming off the top of my lungs when I got Sola, because I've been working really hard to get to that point, and I auditioned a lot. And but once you understand your voice and once you realize it's me that they want, they don't know what they want.
Yeah.
They have an idea, on what this character is, but when you embody it, that is you.
That's just a great way to look at it. And I hope that helps some people who are potentially looking into going into this career and trying to put themselves out there, go in with that mindset and just do what you work for, present the character as it is in your mind, and hope something sticks. Because again, like you said, even if you don't get that role, that may open up opportunities for something else entirely. And we've heard that over and over again as well, right? So many actors had said, I initially went in for this, and this is where I ended up, and it worked out great for everyone in the end. So you just put yourself out there, take that chance, because the worst thing that can happen is they say no. But you're going in there assuming they're going to already anyway. So, hey, either way, it's either going to turn out the way you expect, or it's going to, just be completely life changing. That's really a great way to look at it. Absolutely. So you did Righteous Gemstones. Again, you have your fitness program and your website and the Instagram. What other projects do we have coming up?
Like the Rachel sonnet is just what I just filmed. And I'm just trying to do a little bit of German TV as well. The Righteous Gemstone just aired in Germany. And I want to branch out and do some German roles right now. So I'm working on something there. And that's it for right now. Just waiting for another audition or putting myself out there. I'm going to the Tonys next week and get to some people on Broadway. So that's fun.
That's excellent. How exciting. Have you been to any other award shows before? I'm like so fascinated by all of it.
Yeah, I've gone to the Tonys last year. My girlfriend, Melissa Chamberlain, she's and her husband are producers. They produced The Outsiders with
great. Okay.
Angelina Jolie. And they are Proctor de Villain. The musical has been nominated for 7 Tonys. So
that's awesome.
Part of that as well, yeah.
Walk me through an award show, though. I hear it's a very long day. It's pretty much your entire day from start to finish. It's just a lot of sitting around and waiting. But again, you say you love it. You're going back. So what's a typical award show day looking like for you?
You are getting into your hotel, the makeup and hair comes, you pop a bottle of champagne and you are having fun getting transformed. You go to the show. There's a lot of sitting and waiting. And I'm not a producer on it, but my girlfriend is. And so they get to go on stage once they win. And then afterwards, we go to the party of the musical, and then hopefully another one, and usually you get home by around 2:00 in the morning and you're hurting.
and you forget everything about the day.
But it's so fun because when you're around people that are so passionate about what they do, and then they get to win a Tony on top of it, and to celebrate that. It's just that adrenaline is just phenomenal, and you're so happy for them. And, I always say, like I've mentioned numerous times now, surround yourself with people that are doing it, because it is so inspiring, and it fuels your soul really to do it yourself. And it's all possible,
That's
Dream
so
big.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's now. So, okay. So we've got this fitness. What's your schedule like? It's nice, but it's nice because, you're self-employed and then you have, the acting here and there, and those schedules can be all over the place. But what's a typical week look like for you? Like I would imagine you're one of the busiest people on earth right now.
I am very busy. So, for instance, give you an idea, Nick, last week, I get up every day at 5:30 a.m. And then I have about 13 meetings a day.
Wow.
And in there, I work out myself, and then I might have a podcast or an interview, and then I get roles. So I was filming. I had night shoot Wednesday. So then I get up at 5:30 in the morning, do all my meetings, and then head to set. And then I'm going to be filming until 1 in the morning or midnight. And then by the time I get in bed, it's 2:00 in the morning, and I'll do it all over again. And I usually the next day, if I have a night shoot, try to get at least 6 hours of sleep. My goal is ultimately I'm done at working at, if I'm not filming a night shoot or I'm filming during the day, I usually get done around 8:00, and then I'm in bed by 9.
Yeah.
My life is around my passions, fitness, and I call myself a fit creator. So I'm all about fitness and creating, and I feel like I get to live in my passions. So when you live in your passions, it's not work, and I have 2 kids too. So it's not like and it was much harder when they were little, of course.
I would imagine so, yeah.
My children are now 20 and 26, so it's a lot easier. But when they were little and I had to do all this, it was man, it was crazy.
I bet. Now, are they into the same things that you're into? Are they passionate about staying fit, staying healthy? Do they have any aspirations for acting or writing or directing or anything like that?
They're both in the creative field.
Okay.
They're more into, my daughter's into animation and creating. She's an amazing artist, amazing writer. She wrote her own book already, a series that she's working on, finished her first one that she's publishing, and she's 20,
That's great.
Super smart, super creative. She was a pro ballerina, and my son was a football player in college, had a full ride scholarship, played football 1 year in high school, and then got a full ride scholarship, and works for a video game company, and they're creating their own video games on site. So they're all creative. Our whole family is very, very creative.
That's amazing. Now, how do you guys stay so motivated? Because again, anybody else having such a crazy schedule, again, and then having your hand in a couple of different worlds, doing so many different things, how do you stay motivated to it all? How do you not let it, I'm sure, again, getting the no's from auditions, the regular trials and tribulations of running your own business and keeping things going. There's got to be some down days as well, right? So how do you just keep that train rolling and just get up every day and say, no, we've got to get through it?
Fantastic question. Motivation is your support system. Motivation is your support system. You will never be motivated to do it every day. There's days that I'm super exhausted, and your support system that you can go to and say, I can't do it, they will pep you up. They said, yes, you can. They give you a hug. They said, we believe in you. That's the motivation. Everything else is discipline.
Yeah.
You have to schedule your day. And a friend of mine said to me once, he said, what do you want your movie to look like? And who do you want to watch your movie with?
Okay.
And that's how I created my life. So I put the people in my life that I want in my movie, and I'm watching the movie with the support system that I want to watch it with. And what location, where I'm at. And I'm in Los Angeles. This is where I want to be. And I like being in New York as well. So I'm, in between those. Charleston was amazing to film, but your support system is your motivation.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, also having that grace for yourself to be able to put yourself out there when you are having those tough times and say to those people, hey, I'm going through something. I'm struggling a little bit here. I need a little help. I need to lean on someone. Because I think a lot of us are scared to do that too, right? Because it makes us vulnerable. It makes us look weak maybe. But we always put that in our own heads, right? And once we get out of that mindset and recognize that I have this whole community behind me, I would imagine it makes things a lot easier. So I know you have a heart out, but just, lastly, again, for my listeners, again, give us your website and your Instagram and again, the name of the project you've got coming up and where we can find you.
So my website is partyanddiet.com. My Instagram is partyanddiet. I also have an acting site, Kerstin Schulze, on Instagram. And you can find me on the Righteous Gemstones right now, or next year when the Rachel Sonnet project is airing. It's a new TV show that's on HBO that's coming out. And that's me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so tell me a little bit about Rachel Sonnet and what we can expect from that show.
It's a personal, she wrote it herself, very clever, very smart gal. And it's a bit about her life, really. And there's scenes in there that, where she encounters me at a club. That's all I can say.
Okay. Can't say too much. Well, yeah. Again, I understand. I know you've got to get going, so I don't want to keep you for too long. But Kerstin Schulze, it was really nice to talk to you. This went by really, really quick. I'm so obsessed with Righteous Gemstones. So when I had the opportunity to talk with you, I was like, yes, please. This is amazing. So again, thank you so much. You guys look up Kerstin, look up all the amazing work that she's done already. Look up the projects that she's got coming up. I'm definitely going to get on your fitness website because I mean, if you guys were seeing what I'm seeing, this girl knows what she's talking about. So,
and if you want to, for all your listeners, I'm giving out a free month. If you want to try it out. and use the code party15 and you get to try out my workouts for free.
Great. I know my mom will definitely. Joanne, you hear that? I know she'll definitely join that. That'll be great. Well, again, Kerstin, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. It was wonderful talking with you. You guys, this was Try Not to Curse, and we will catch you next time.